This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We are your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Honey Mango Habanero Hot Sauce from Stanky Sauce. Let's heat up. All right, we're back for episode 3. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, happy Friday. Had a decent Friday, a little business trip today, but...
Yeah, you had a bit of traveling across the state.
Yeah, got to meet a bunch of nervous college kids and shake some sweaty hands today, so that was fun.
Yeah, I got to stay home, so that was pretty nice. But again, welcome back. If you're new, we're Matt and Mike. We are the Heat Source Podcast, and today we are trying a honey mango habanero sauce from the Stanky Sauce.
I like the bottle art. First thing that came to mind was the dinosaurs from Disney, the little lemurs in that movie.
Yeah,
that's what that reminded me of.
I feel like I should Google that because you mentioned that the other day, and I was like,
it just reminded me of those little characters. Very inviting bottle, though. I like the colors and the marketing have been really neat to see in these all the different companies, you know. And
this is a sauce company that some people may not understand why we picked them second after Lucky Dog Sauce last week. But this is a sauce company that I found in my first week of trying to find different sauce companies and researching. I saw them on a live Instagram video with a group talking about the Hot Sauce Summit that we mentioned in previous episodes. And one of the founders of this sauce was on that video. And I just was like, I liked the name. He was talking about his message, and I was kind of hooked, and the flavor sounded amazing. So it was kind of an easy decision. So it was nothing like they reached out to us or I reached out to them originally. I've been interacting with them on Instagram, though. They're super friendly, super welcoming. I even actually messaged them. One of them today texted me because we were at the Hot Sauce Summit last night. Mm-hmm. And one of them had to jump out early. And so he messaged me like, hey, sorry I didn't stay later. Good to see you yesterday. And that was just a real nice, welcoming, vibe from both the guys because they're brothers. Yeah. And we'll get into that. But I will talk a little bit I want to talk about the Hot Sauce Summit a little bit that I attended yesterday. But before we do that, we're going to do the episode a little bit differently this week. We got some really, really good feedback from Scott at Lucky Dog Sauce. And there was a discussion of how we rate the heat, how we grade, and making sure we explain it better because it is something where with new episodes, and if you maybe didn't listen to the first episode or you're brand new to the show, we want to make sure that you understand what our grading system is and really what it means. Because with grading, everything is subjective to the person's preference. So it's more, this is how our grading system can help you, and this is where it's a little bit more person to person. The first part of that I wanted to talk about was the big thing that came from the feedback. We always talked about this podcast being a discussion. We see podcasts out there that do 5-minute, 10-minute reviews of sauce.
Pretty scripted.
Yeah, I mean, it's efficient. And one of them, I even remember them saying like, hey, we'll get in, we'll get out, we won't waste your time. Mm-hmm. We apparently don't care about wasting people's time. Yeah. We want to hang out with them on the full drive, maybe even beyond the drive, maybe when they're at work. So one of the things that we talked about is we want to discuss the sauce more. So we're going to try this sauce before we get into a lot of the fun facts that I have accumulated. And you don't know how many pages I have because it's all digital today. So I have to do a little scrolling. So for this episode, we're going to try the sauce a little bit early. It'll allow us to taste it, to discuss it some more as we're talking about them. It really gives a chance for you to understand what we're experiencing. And then when we grade it, you still get the grade. You still get where we kind of put it in our list of sauces, which it currently is a list of 2. Mm-hmm. So where we kind of grade it, but it's more important to listen to the discussion of what the sauce was like, when I had a second spoonful, because I feel like even on the Franks in Louisiana first episode, we tried multiple spoonfuls because it was just, you're tasting something different. Or, as Scott had mentioned, the last sauce we tried, El Perro Fortunato, you try a spoonful and then a spoonful and a spoonful, and you don't lose that flavor, unlike a store-bought, cheaper sauce where you get that flavor and then you just get a lot of salt and you get a lot of vinegar. And so that's what we're kind of retooling on this episode. We're not going to retool every episode. We're not going to change, but we are going to listen. We are going to adapt. Some ideas we'll do immediately. Some ideas we'll give it 5-10 episodes and see what we want to adjust.
Yeah. I think part of, maybe dropping the ball on it, kind of explaining where we're coming from on the episode 1.5, the lost episode. I think we definitely touched on it. And then when we re-recorded, we'd kind of skipped over some stuff we had touched on. Yeah,
I was really proud of us that from episode 2 to episode 2 again, we kept the conversation new for us. I retooled it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, all right, let's just record it and we're reading it off of a script because we already did it once. But it did hurt where there were some things we explained because it was like, hey, this is the second episode. We're going to explain this in a little more detail. And then in the re-record, we were like, kind of skipped over, not because we intentionally were telling anyone like they should already know. We just assumed we said it because we did technically in episode 2, just in the botched recording.
Yeah, you just never hear it.
Yeah. You'll never hear it unless I haven't worked on it this week, unless I can work on it and make it better.
Yeah. But
something to discuss now, and we'll do a reminder when we get into trying the sauce. We have a 100-point scale. Initially, I was a little terrified of a 100-point scale because I'm like, we're amateurs, we're learning as we go. So how can we break down something by 100 points? But it actually is to help us score and help us kind of like show where we like these sauces in a wide range instead of, hey, we give everything a 7, so I don't know what the difference between these 15 sauces that we gave a 7 for. A 100-point scale is the same as if we said it was like a 7.5. We're just not doing decimals because we don't do math. So I reiterate that every episode.
Sorry to our one listener in the UK.
Yeah.
We don't do the metric system.
We should. But the scoring is broken down. It's a weighted scale. I'll go through the scale itself when we try the sauce, but the more important thing on this 100-point scale is everything is really broken down into 4 sections. If we grade anything over a 75, we want that stocked in our kitchen. It's a recommend to buy. It doesn't matter if it's 75, 95. We want that in our kitchen.
Yeah, like that's a sauce that I will go out of my way to get.
Like, I will have it on the bandolier across my chest if I have to travel. I don't know why I'd be traveling with a bandolier, but that would be where it would be. 75 to 50, we still recommend to buy it. We're going to try it any chance we get. We may not stock it in our kitchen.
Yeah, but it's a good, solid hot sauce that I have no problems with.
50 and above is recommend to buy.
Yeah.
Anybody, if they're like, oh, I'm going to try this type of sauce, or I like a jalapeno-based sauce or a habanero-based sauce, if it's above 50, we're telling you to buy it. 50 to 25, that's where Louisiana and Frank's falls into. It's fine.
Yeah, it's hot sauce.
It's not something that you would, like, if I were to recommend that to you, you would kind of be like, really? This is the one? It's like telling someone, oh, you gotta try, Applebee's. You gotta try, not a sponsor. You gotta try McDonald's. Not a sponsor. So 25 to 50 is not bad.
Yeah.
It is just not a recommendation. And then 25 to 0, I'm not going to say that that's bad. We kind of retooled that. It's not our choice.
Yeah.
It might be yours.
Might float your boat, but it doesn't hit right with me. So.
25 to 0 is that movie that you love that no one else does.
The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
The Burbs for you, Hot Rod with Andy Samberg for me. I've got a few movies probably that I could put in that category, but we're just saying that it's not our choice.
Yeah.
We still would say we're not going to recommend that you go out and buy it, but we still think everyone should try a sauce, even if we don't like it.
Sure.
And that's the big thing, is that we're here to learn. We're here to discuss. We're not here to bash a sauce.
Or critique.
But we do have to be honest if we don't like it.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes it's a preference of, we talked about the last episode, how you're not a fan typically of tomato-based sauces, and Scott's was 75 plus. Scott's was a put in the kitchen.
Oh, the great sauce.
The other thing is, if it's got like I know that there was a sauce that I just read about that had coconut milk. I probably would like it still because I've had things with coconut milk and it blends, but I'm not a big coconut fan. Coconut water is not my thing. Coconut flakes, the texture for that is more than the flavor. But
yeah, we're very different then. I love coconuts. Anytime I go to Florida, first thing I do is like hop in the bushes, try to catch lizards, and then just like walk into whatever Airbnb we're staying at with just an armful of coconuts and like an ice pick or a screwdriver.
But that's now, do you think fresh coconut tastes different than coconut water from the store?
Oh yeah. But I like I just like coconut in general.
I think that would be something different. I would be willing to try that because it's the same thing with, we've had people have fresh fish that we've caught same day that say, oh, I don't like fish, that love it. You bring it home, you freeze it, 6 months later.
Yeah. Hits a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's my only food aversion that I have is coconut. And it's not absolutely not. It's just the odds are against it.
Yeah.
And it's more so the texture of that coconut shaving, like German chocolate cake. I love the flavor of everything about it. If I just swallowed all the shavings without chewing them, that's my thing. So, and I know yours is beans.
Oh gosh, beans. Speaking of swallowing, quick story.
This is a dangerous segue.
You're making me pass out here. Not a bean fan at all. Couldn't tell you why. Don't mind the taste. Don't mind the smell. Don't mind any of it. Just don't like them. Someone important to my wife and I, we showed up to their place and they had, we traveled across the country to see them. Mm-hmm. And they made a soup that they were super excited about. They're like, if you like spicy, this is soup for you. I can't wait for you to try it. I get there and it's like a 5-bean soup. And I didn't want to be rude. And they, topped me off a big bowl. I swallowed the entire bowl of soup and did not chew one time because if I chewed into a bean, I would pass out.
So you're saying that you took a soup and you went Mallard style?
Yes.
Like full on duck?
Just swallowed the whole thing. Just spoonful after spoonful as quick as I could.
Luckily, coconut and beans are not typical hot sauce products, so I think we're going to be good. If we do any food tasting or I thought about an idea of having certain sauces that we do a wing challenge where it's not if which sauce is better, which one goes best on that wing. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that, we still could avoid it. If we did which one makes the best baked beans, then that might be a little problematic.
I'd pass out. Yeah. I'll pass on that one. I don't even think I could watch you do it.
We went to the butterfly exhibit at Frederick Meyer Gardens today.
Oh, we're doing that tomorrow.
Angela does not like moths, and butterflies very similar to a moth.
That is not the place for her.
And so it was funny because she would just kind of duck out of the way.
That's like me going into a greenhouse full of spiders.
Yeah. So
beans and spiders.
Beans and spiders.
So you guys know everything you need to know about me now.
For me, it's coconut, and don't like clowns. Moving on. The other part of it is we talked about the heat scale when we are grading a sauce that we're trying on, what the heat level is. And initially when we made the scale, we just looked at a Scoville scale of heat. We looked at the peppers on the Scoville scale and we just kind of divided it out from there. So we had jalapeno, ghost pepper, habanero, things like that. And it was, again, another good point made by Scott that whether we use the peppers on that scale or not, putting a raw pepper of any kind on a scale and saying, hey, this is a jalapeno, so here's a raw jalapeno. I could have a raw jalapeno and be like, wow, this is really hot. And then someone says, hey, I have a jalapeno hot sauce. I'm like, oh, no, that's too spicy. But once it's cooked and balanced and it comes down, just like with...
Two very different things.
We watched that Modern Marvels video that had Frank's where they were showing the process of making it. And they said at a certain point it was tens of thousands of Scovilles, and then they bring it down to a 5,000, a 7,000, or whatever it is.
Sure.
And it's something where there's fluctuations based on what you're doing to enhance it, the blend of peppers. So instead of talking about the peppers, and really instead of even looking at the bottle, because the bottle, for most, unless it's a novelty hot sauce or one of those that's this is going to kick your behind, most of those ratings are for the commercial audience. It's kind of like Wendy's comes out with a spicy chicken sandwich. They're not saying it's the spiciest thing a chili head's ever going to have. They're saying, hey, this is spicy for McDonald's or for Wendy's or for Arby's. Yeah. So, which all of them have come out with a spicy thing lately too.
Yeah. Trendy lately in there.
So, and the interesting thing is you said that there is no heat level listed on the Stanky sauce.
No.
Which actually is nice. And I already know that They don't really think of this as a very spicy sauce. This is a very introduction sauce, which will make it interesting if I try it and just start like sweating profusely. But the heat range that we do is 0 to 5. 0 is pretty self-explanatory.
No heat.
Nothing.
Bell peppers.
It is an absence of heat. It is Duke's mayonnaise has a little zing to it. It is Hellman's mayonnaise cut with sour cream. 1 is, I feel it, but it's minimal. There is heat, but it's...
Little tingle.
Yeah. 2 is good heat. It lingers. 2 is what I put El Perro Afortunado at. Mm-hmm. You were kind of started at 2 and then went down to 1. And that's a good point, too, is the heat is our personal take on it. Your tolerance is higher than mine. A chili head's tolerance is
way above mine.
Way higher.
Yeah.
The third one is I put nose running or sweats, but it's just like you're starting to react. It's not just, hey, there's heat. I turn red 75% of the time. Yeah. But turning red, nose running.
Like you adjust your breathing. You start breathing through your mouth at that point.
Yep.
One, because if you breathe out your nose, you're just going to get the runs.
Right.
And then you're also trying to cool your tongue down. So starting to pick up.
And then the next level we have is 4, which I put pain, but good pain.
Yeah.
So it hurts. I think of I wouldn't even put this at a 4, but I was having a ghost pepper ceviche down in Kalamazoo like years ago. And every time, and it was a lime ghost pepper ceviche. So the lime helped. The ghost pepper did not. But it was a constant cycle. And they're like, why do you keep having it? Just stop. And I'm like, well, 2 reasons. It's really, really good. Mm-hmm. And if I stop, it's only going to hurt more. But it was a good pain.
Yeah. So I kind of know what you're talking about. And I want to know from you guys if you've ever experienced this. But like if I eat something really hot and I like it, like if I eat it at first, it's not quite as hot. But if you kind of let it sit for a couple minutes, you're like, okay, this is really hot. And when you re-eat something, like if you were to take another hit of that ceviche on a chip, you would almost kind of cool back down. So like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it kind of almost picks up as you let it sit, but when you eat more, it kind of resets lower and then gets hotter.
And again, part of that is how the sauce maker has blended the peppers together. Using certain peppers, like in the last sauce, using that ghost pepper to keep that lingering heat, while other peppers hit a little bit different. So number 5 is just bad pain. Yeah. It's just
not fun.
It's pain. It's bad.
Yeah.
Not in flavor. That's a separate thing, but it is just, it hurts.
Yeah. That's like novelty challenge. You know? That's some ridiculous thing that you bought on the internet and eat 13 peanuts. That's
the thing that you put a drop of it in a pot of chili. You put a drop of it in something just to heat the whole thing efficiently, but you don't want to take that directly as a separate bite.
Punishment.
Yeah. It would be one of those like loser of the fantasy football league punishments that I'm in one league that does that. And luckily they have not done heat, but that would be a bad one. So that's the heat scale. And again, it's our preference. It's something where we could have this sauce, have 5 people try it, and all 5 of them could give a different heat rating. I think Scott even mentioned that he had 3 people try one of his sauces. All 3 of them had wildly different opinions on the heat. All 3 of them bought it. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the thing, is whether we think it's excessively hot, minorly hot, light on heat, whether we think that it's amazing or really good or fine, it is all about the person's experience in trying it. So
sure. Yeah, like my mother-in-law's throwing 5s at everything.
Yeah.
It's like hell in its sour cream.
So that was a little bit about our scoring, just talking about how we're going to retool that. The other thing I want to talk about is yesterday. Well, on Thursday, because this will be coming out on Monday. On Thursday, I attended the Hot Sauce Summit, which was the first time ever attending. It's their 4th Hot Sauce Summit that they've ever done. So they've been doing it every quarter, roughly, so that they've been doing it for a year. You were not able to attend, but I told you that you're going to have to go the next time because that was really cool.
Nice.
I was very nervous going into it because, well, first I got an email that morning saying, here's some things to think about to ask your questions. Here's the breakout discussion idea. And I'm just like, wait, what is this? Because
you texted me a couple times. You're like, I think we're breaking out into groups. And I think I have to speak and prepare some stuff.
I think I had a discussion with 3 or 4 people that I was just like, I need someone to either calm me down or tell me to just to like go into hiding. But because we're a very new podcast. We're very new into the hot sauce community. We are not experts in any way. So when I go in there and there's professional hot sauce makers that are doing it as a career, hobbyist hot sauce makers that are trying to do it as a career, and I'm going in and be like, hi, I'm going to try your sauce and tell you what I think.
I can tell you all about crystals.
They had the Zach from High Heat Sauce Company. They had Chris from Chris Cooks Crazy go into some of the science, which you missed out on, my friend.
I did.
Yeah, Mr. I read scientific journals as a hobby. Out. So it was really, really interesting. It was really cool. It was another, I say this every episode, but I feel like it should be said and recognized every episode. It was a very open community. You're talking about 25 people, roughly, that all are trying to make it in the hot sauce world. That all are pretty much competing for, I say competing for, people to buy, but they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
They see it as whatever we can do to help each other, because everyone has their own kind of flavor. Everyone has their own kind of take on something. Everyone's sauce has a different personal meaning to themselves. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to say, well, I need to do something to beat this guy selling more sauce. Everyone can succeed. I don't think there's anybody that's a fan of hot sauce that just says, I buy one bottle of hot sauce, I have it sitting there in my pantry, and I don't need any other sauces until that's done. Yeah. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
As someone that initially was stockpiling sauces to try, and now my kitchen is bleeding into, oh, these aren't ones I'm going to try, these are just ones I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
It has never been a 1 or even 5 sauce minimum. Mm-hmm. So it was very cool. It was initially a little nerve-wracking, got comfortable, did the breakout groups, had some really good interactions with people, but it is something where if you're ever curious about the inner workings of hot sauce, or if you're wanting to start your own bottling of hot sauce, or just, a fan, I found it very helpful. I found it very interesting.
What were a couple of your big takeaways?
So one of my favorite quotes, Zach from High Heat Sauce Company, they were asking him about the sauces that he makes, and he said he makes sauce for his own well-being. If you like it, great. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of a perfect thing of, don't worry about pleasing everyone. Don't worry about what it does for everyone else.
Right.
If you are happy with what you're doing, you're happy with your product, you're happy with your idea,
good for you.
That's all you need, and then everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
It's something we really talked about when we started this podcast. It's like, how many other podcasts are there out about this? And it really doesn't matter how many more there are, because everyone's is different. Mm-hmm. And everyone's is different, and everyone's can kind of support each other, where we've discussed reaching out to some people to have them on once we figure out enough technology that we could have people on, because Lord willing, we did not mess this episode up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the new studio.
I was going to save it for the end.
Three
episodes,
yeah.
3 different studios. I like it. Now we've
technically 4 episodes, 4 different studios, but I botched the one.
Yeah. So we have a soundproof curtain foam board hybrid studio.
Yes. Shout out to my dad, who works in furniture upholstery, and he has a bunch of styrofoam he just covered in cloth, and the boxes that we used in the first episode with the foam is now on the ceiling. So either my kids fell asleep or it's doing its job.
It's really working.
Yeah.
I'm digging it, though. I told Matt before we started, it's like an adult fort.
It will. The only thing left to make it really professional is I need a light to switch on that says on air. So yeah, the big takeaway I had was that from Zach. The other takeaway that I had was just that you talk to these sauce companies, and even when I talk to them on Instagram, which is really cool to interact, whether it be just a simple message, they share something that we posted, they comment, like just getting comments on our posts is really cool. Mm-hmm. But seeing a face, and I didn't initially have my video on, and I was like, I'll let just the sauce people have theirs.
I'll just be a fly on the wall.
And then I texted you partway in. I was like, yeah, there's my face. I'm doing it.
I'm really doing it.
Yeah. So once I did that, it was like, I saw this one company that they have super Left Lane Pepper Company has these super professional photos. They have these really cool ideas. It's an automotive themed hot sauce company, which is really cool. And then I see the people, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so nice. They're so, friendly. And I'm like, I don't know what I was picturing, but I always just picture all these sauce makers are these just veteran pros that are unapproachable, and they're not.
Yeah.
And that's what when I saw Stanky Sauce in that live Instagram feed, that was one of the things that clicked with me is that, hey, these guys are super approachable. They're doing live feeds. They're doing shout outs and waves to people as they're doing it. I thought it was just for that one video, but it was actually anytime he's on video. Eddie from Stanky Sauce, when he's on a live Instagram feed, I know most of what the filters are on Instagram because he just scrolls through them. It's like, I don't know if it's just he's got to keep moving with it, but it is just like strobe lights. Then it's color changes. Then it's black and white. And it's like,
that's funny.
Okay. I'm like, do I have these too? Do I get these filters? So again, we are trying the honey mango habanero sauce, which I'm really excited about. They have two sauces. They have the honey mango habanero, and then they just have the mango habanero sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one we're trying. They only carry two sauces currently, but there could potentially, there is going to be more. I don't know the dates on it yet, but I know that's something that they'll announce. And usually, I have all the facts. I do all that research, and I have them ready. But you seem to think that you have something.
I think it's a pretty neat fact, but I'm a nerd. I don't know.
Okay.
You might just be like that. Crazy. Awesome. Let's move on.
I'm interested.
It's loosely related to the sauce. An ingredient of the sauce.
Okay. So I will say, I don't think I'm going to have this fact then. Because my facts seem very pointed towards the company more.
If you have this fact, this will be my last episode. You can find someone else.
So do you want to do your fact now, or do you want to wait and add that in as we go?
I'll just add it in as we go.
Okay.
I don't want to.
I'm very excited.
I don't want to come out of the gate too hard, and we just have to end the show because there's nothing else left. So
yeah, it's an expensive mic. I don't want to have to drop it when you drop that knowledge. All right. So like I said before, the Stanky Sauce Company, it is founded by the brothers Eddie and Eric. Their last name is Stankowitz.
That makes sense.
Now you're seeing the dots.
Yeah. Because I think one of the first things you said is like, we're doing Stanky Sauce. I'm like, sweet. Why is it called Stanky Sauce?
And I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And every time I mentioned,
those definitely their names in high school.
So
hey Stanky.
That is prophetic because the nickname was started in 1997 in high school.
Yeah.
And Eddie, when he was in class, they were doing roll call, and they always got their names wrong. So the professor was just like, I'm just going to call you Stanky. And it clicked. And I don't think Eric got the name. Like, he was kind of known by association with Eddie being known as Stanky. But it was something where once that name started, I mean, Stanky is in high school. You can imagine that's not exactly the ideal nickname. But that was kind of where he had a decision of, all right, do I let it bother me? Do I let it get me down or whatever? Or do I own it? Mm-hmm. So he owned it. He's like, yeah. It's like, call me Stanky.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I had someone on my baseball team. His last name was Stankus. And we called him Stanky.
See, so it's
actually a common last name. Nickname last name.
If you don't talk to him anymore, you need to get in touch with him. Just to get an address, you send him a bottle of this.
I haven't talked to him in 10 years. I don't know if he'd remember me.
That's fine. Just send him a bottle. Be like, hey.
Thought of you.
Thought you would appreciate this.
It's been 10 years, but I thought of you.
But yeah, so it was something where he kind of took ownership of the name. You know, he didn't want it to be a negative.
Yeah.
And so he was just Stanky. He said that he even had friends that for years they were unsure of his first name because they always just call him Stanky.
Yeah.
They knew his family, and they're just like, Edward? Eddie? I'm just going to call you Stanky. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought your birth certificate just said Stanky on it.
Yeah, I just assumed that's your,
No, you had a first name.
Be like, you do have a first name. It's just Stanky. But they were based in Florida, based in Orlando area. His brother, Eric, actually worked at Disney for 15 years.
Nice.
So he I don't know if it was this year, end of last, Eric just left Disney to work on this full time.
Really? So are they both full time doing it?
I think Eddie is still working another job right now that has like a flexibility to allow him to do this.
Okay.
I know that he mentioned on the call yesterday even that Eric is now full time on it. It's something where they're in a transition period right now. It seems that they're going from a lower level production to a higher level. They're really kind of ramping up. So they're right in that mid transition part. But yeah, so he worked there for 15 years.
Did he say what he did at Disney?
He didn't. It's another good question that I did not get the answer for.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to assume that he was an integral part to something high level, high clearance, high security clearance. This, like the secret Disney stuff that you don't know about, he was just running the show.
Yeah.
Allegedly. There's no real basis to that. Before I get into like all this information, but this is information that I get from podcast interviews that they've done. I know they did a Know It Some podcast in 2021 in May, Spill the Sauce podcast, which we did talk about last week as well, that they did in December of last year. They were at the Fiery Food Show a couple weeks ago, and Mark from Hot Sauce Guide and Fat Guy Certified did an informal video interview live on Instagram. So that's where I'm getting this information. It's a collection of information from those sources. So those are definitely interesting things to check out, even though that's where I'm pulling this information from. Just so people aren't like, why do you know what they did when they were kids? It's like, well, I am a private detective. So when they were kids, they always wanted to be entrepreneurs. They actually used to live near a golf course, and they would sell stray balls back to the golfers, like when they were kids.
Yeah.
So
nice.
That was the start of just entrepreneurship. So Eddie was more of a salesman than Eric growing up. Mm-hmm. He actually would sell candy in middle school. His first nickname before Stanky was Starburst Kid. So he would bring candy into school. He would sell it. High school, he would sell sandwiches and candy. He said until he got caught, so I don't know how long that was.
What kind of sandwiches?
I don't know.
I know what sandwiches. You just making cold cuts in the back of your car and selling them?
I mean, in high school, honestly, that would be enough for me. So he would do that in high school, selling miscellaneous sandwiches that we don't know.
We'll have to figure that one out. I'm real curious about the sandwiches.
He might have mentioned it. Honestly, they might have mentioned it on there, because I feel like there was a little bit more discussion of like what he did, where he would like to get the sandwiches from this place and then pack them up and then bring them. So, but he also talked about how he never liked being a salesman, but he was a natural salesman.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because now he's in a situation where he's combining sales that he's just naturally good at with his passion, which is this hot sauce that him and his brother are making. And I kind of related to that because I had a lot of sales jobs through my early career, like in my early 20s. Mm-hmm. I did not like sales. Anyway, so he's just a natural salesman, but he's now combining it with a passion. Mm-hmm. Their sauce company is not that old. So they started in 2020. So Eric was furloughed from Disney during COVID. And so they began just kind of like getting some traction and learning about.
Real quick, I feel like no one knew what that word meant.
I didn't know. I still don't know how to spell it. I had to get it auto-corrected.
I think it's like furloft. Like one of those L-O-U-G-H's or something.
It is. It is. Do you want to know how I tried to spell it?
F-U-R-L-O-W-E-D.
I did 2 L's.
That's funny. But yeah, no, I remember seeing that on the news and be like, oh my God, what does this mean?
Yeah. It doesn't sound bad.
I just remember seeing a word,
but it's
like,
just,
man, is this like part, like, is this another part of COVID?
It's The Office. Like, if you don't get back to work, I'm going to write you up with a full desadulation.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to find out. So, yeah. So he was furloughed. So they got to do some more research. They got to look into like co-packing and what kind of lab involvement is, when you're kind of create a sauce and do mass production and things like that. Mm-hmm. Because the sauce itself, the original recipe was just something that Eddie was very, interested in. They I think it was a conversation he said that was with his dad, where it was just the idea of, you should make your own hot sauce. Like, just make something that you...
So did they just dabble in it before, or they just randomly one day were like, oh, I want to try making hot sauce? Or like, how did that come about?
Eddie was the one that thought of the mango habanero. I think it was something that they had dabbled in before. They had made, in their home before. But then Eric was the one that actually suggested, let's do a version of it with honey. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense because Eddie, he's not a fan of ketchup, barbecue sauce, steak sauce. He needs heat. Mm-hmm. So like barbecue sauce doesn't interest him. It's just too sweet. Eric is more of a barbecue. He's more of a sweeter palate. So those are the two sauces. that they came out originally with, and that's what they've been running with. They have, in the interviews in the past, they talked about different sauces that they either tried to make, or like certain things that elements they wanted, but you couldn't get the sauce right. I think they talked about something with smoked pineapple, which sounds really interesting, but I can imagine pineapple, which is a very wet fruit, and then you're smoking, and I'd say I can imagine. I've never tried to do it. I did grill some pineapple to go with my tacos al pastor last night.
How'd those turn out?
Good, but I looked up how to make authentic tacos al pastor, and I feel like I might have made like either a poor man's version or like
the gringo version.
Yeah. I just don't. It was really good. We marinated them overnight. I cooked them up. I wish I could have grilled them, but it was kind of cold and rainy last night, so I had to like do it on the cast iron. But they came out really good. Angela's parents were over. They really liked them, so I was going to eat more today, but it's Friday.
Yeah.
So
I dropped that ball twice.
Don't put that on the podcast. Don't want people to know. So they had those two flavors. Some interesting things about the sauce. It's an all-natural ingredient sauce. It's FDA approved. It is low sodium because it has pink Himalayan salt. So they had a comment on their Instagram. This is one of the first sauces that I did a deep dive into, where I literally was just going through their entire Instagram. And they've got multiple Instagrams. I only went through the main one. But they have I think like 14 Instagram handles that they have out there. They actively are using a handful of them. But they made a comment that someone, thanked them for making a sauce with the pink Himalayan salt because they have, I think it's blood pressure. Is blood pressure the sodium one?
I think so.
Yeah. So they were talking about how it has the health benefits where they can actually have their sauce and not make their doctor.
I guess I didn't realize it had that big of an impact. I just thought it was pink and trendy. I guess I didn't realize it was. Which
is weird because I've never used pink Himalayan salt and been like, oh, this isn't salt. I mean, it's still.
I know I have a pink Himalayan salt candle, which apparently those catch on fire sometimes. So I've been afraid to burn that one.
That's the opposite of what you need a candle to do. It's like the candle is just supposed to hold the flame, not enhance it.
Catch the flame, yeah. One of my favorite memes, it's like a container of pink Himalayan salt, and it has an expiration date on it. It says, great, just my luck, 250 million-year-old salt, and it expires next year.
Oh, man. Yeah, but the pink Himalayan salt, I'm low on my salt grinder. I should get pink Himalayan salt for the next one. And
I could definitely, I obviously haven't tried the sauce yet, but like if you did a side-by-side with regular salt and pink Himalayan, I can definitely tell a difference. I like the pink Himalayan.
Well, and while we're talking about the ingredients, because I'm just on autopilot, let's start trying the sauce.
Yeah.
Because we said that we were going to do that before I went to my fun facts.
Yeah.
And I got sidetracked. So this is the favorite part of the episode for me. I feel like it's also the favorite part of the episode for you too.
Yeah.
Where we're going to
not so much now, but when the only parts of the podcast I've ever listened to, I'll usually have Matt skip forward to this part. And I think we need to call this harping. It's just got that ring to it when you pull it down.
If it does it. Last episode, it had a very symphonic sound to it. I don't want to overhype it. Also, just in case this is the first time listening, yes, I do the editing. I have to listen to my voice like 2 or 3 times.
I'm sorry.
Mike does not.
I appreciate you taking the hit.
I mean, it does. It's helping me acknowledge and accept my own voice. So, this is a good stopping point. We're talking about the ingredients they use, and let's go ahead and listen to the opening of the bottle.
Not bad.
That still has
That's a pretty good one.
I gotta try to stop right before, and didn't even get the other side. I gotta try to stop right before it breaks, because right when it breaks, that's when it's kind of like, that wasn't as good.
That was bottom to top, though. That hit different.
Yeah. So, we're going to try this sauce, and then we'll keep talking about the ingredients. It is a good-looking sauce. It has kind of the specks of the seasoning in there. It has like a dark orange?
Yeah, it's orange. And I don't know why I'm like drawn to orange-colored sauces. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I couldn't tell you why. It just looks appealing to me, but...
Yeah.
I'll throw one of my, I think I have 4 facts here. I'll throw one out at you.
You got your phone out with your fun facts.
Yeah.
I would say like how unprofessional, but I'm using a laptop because I can't print. Anyway. Proceed with your facts, sir.
Honey never spoils.
Is honey the thing that's buried with the mummies?
Yeah, that was actually, thanks for stealing, 1/4 of my thunder here.
So, but here's the thing. I forgot about it, and that's what clicked with the mummies. So I'm sorry for taking it, but also it would have been, it's better than me going, well, I knew that.
Yeah.
I did know it at one point.
So, just a quick Google search here. There are even reports of edible honey being found in several thousand-year-old Egyptian tombs.
See,
That's just amazing.
I just said, do mummies have it? I was thinking. I don't
know where else you'd find a mummy, so I assumed you figured it was in a tomb.
Well, I was thinking, is that where what they had buried in the movie The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? Underrated movie. The sequels are kind of go off the rails. Remember when Brendan Fraser was a big name? George of the Jungle, The
I like
Mummy.
those movies, yeah.
Blast from the Past.
Yeah. That's probably Courtney's favorite movie.
Blast from the Past with Nathan Fillion as a side role, which is one of my favorite actors from a movie or show that I love.
What are you getting for sniffs right off the bat? I'm getting sweet. Real sweet. I
am getting sweet. I'm getting the apple cider vinegar.
I'm getting a lot of that.
But I'm getting like the apple, like it's not like when we smelled Frank's, Louisiana, where it was like very vinegar.
Yeah.
This is very much apple.
This is like a fruity vinegar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which honey, mango, and apple cider vinegar are the first three ingredients. So, all right.
I don't know how this is going to taste. I'm excited. It's very fragrant, very fruity, very sweet smelling.
Yeah. Let's do this.
That's pleasant.
Ooh.
Fish tacos. That's going on fish tacos.
Could have done it today if you
paid attention.
Followed Len. That is good. So
I do like that.
It is.
It's got a good heat. That's like a very universal heat where it's like a little tingly, but it's not going to burn someone out who might be a little shy on heat.
So here's the thing that is interesting about this. I think that is a really good heat. I don't think it's a very high heat, which is not what they're going for. I think just we're realizing that the all-natural sauces, because of just the ingredients they use, they're going to hit different than those store-bought ones, like Louisiana Original and the Frank's. We put those as a 1, and I think that they're a 1 in heat. But they hit differently where when I tried El Perro Afortunado, I was like, oh, that's a 2. And maybe it is a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a 1, like I think Scott even told me that his idea is that's like a 1+.
Yeah.
And so that sweetness, I was worried it was going to be too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
You have mango, you have honey. I was worried that don't know if it's going to jive, but it's,
the balance out nice.
The heat is really good.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of heat. It's something where this would be a borderline. This would be like right on that edge of me tell my mom if she should have it. My mom will handle a little bit of spice, not a lot. My dad would love this. My dad will handle the spice. That is so good.
I feel like I can taste the carrots in there too.
And carrots is another sweetness. Yeah. And that's the thing is there's a few different elements that can lead to sweet, but they balance it in such a way. Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going in for another one. So this is the thing that I find interesting. So the only other mango, what did we talk about with B-dubs? Was it mango or honey habanero that they do?
They do honey barbecue and mango habanero.
So I used to love B-dubs. I don't go there hardly at all anymore because I've had different wing places that I think are much better and they're local. But one of my sauces I love to get was the mango habanero.
Yep.
The problem was I sweat so bad when I try it because it is an aggressive heat.
Yeah. It's habaneros, mango, and just like confectioner's sugar. Or
I looked up the ingredients. I didn't put it, this isn't even on the notes. I was thinking about it tonight before we recorded because I was like, that's the only other mango habanero sauce I've ever had. And the first 3 ingredients are water, high fructose corn syrup, and some other type of like corn syrup oil or something. And then it gets into mango concentrate.
Contains less than 2% of.
But this is the thing. So their sauce, and I do not like B-Dub's hottest sauce. I don't think I think it's just designed to burn. It's not designed for any flavor. This sauce is so good. I would put this on chicken wings. Like if I did a chicken wing and I was like, hey, here's a honey mango habanero, and someone's like used to B-Dubs, they'd be like, what is this? They'd be like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
And that's where, like,
I feel like this would be good on pizza too. I don't know why
I don't know what it wouldn't be good on.
Yeah.
So
we've already knocked out half the bottle just in spoonfuls.
I know. I was gonna jokingly say, like, because I bought a handful of sauces for the upcoming episodes. I was gonna be like, you need to buy like a box of theirs, especially when their new sauces come out, which we'll talk about. But I had a feeling I was gonna like it, and I'm like, I don't think we're ever gonna, once we look at a sauce and I like research it or hear the makers talk about how they make it, I don't think that I'm ever gonna get a sauce from like, this isn't gonna be good. I think that's going to be like store-bought if we have to just order something and it's advertised as something else than just a flavorful sauce. But I'm so glad that this is so delicious because those guys are so awesome.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about how good their sauce is. So, yeah, this is really good. Oh my gosh. I like how there's just reactions, like, instead of just pure silence, it's just me going, like, oh. Me and my sister joke about that sometimes where it's like,
what about Bob?
Yeah. Or like you ever see someone try something and like they do like the eye roll, but a positive eye roll?
Yeah.
Where it's like, they just got there.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
So
I'm kind of surprised with how, because it is a pretty sweet sauce.
It is.
But it blends so well with like the vinegar and the sweetness where it's like, it's universal. I could see that sweet sauce going on things that don't normally have sweet things on it.
Yeah. One drawback of opening it so early is I don't know how much is going to be left at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So I might, at least before the episode comes out, Eddie and Eric will know what we think of the sauce because I think I'll probably order one this weekend. I'd be like, hey, episode's coming out Monday. You'll have to listen to it to see what we say. By the way, can I have 8 bottles?
Yeah, right. And I might skip the spoon and just go for a straw.
Yeah,
like I'm enjoying just eating it with nothing on it.
So this, because of the fruitiness elements of it, or the sweet elements of it, I should say, the something I had thought about recently was like if you were to do a charcuterie board, if you were to do one of those boards, and then you had complementing hot sauces at different levels, and maybe not different levels, but like here's a variety of sauces that are very different that they could try with the different elements. That'd
be good with cheese. Because, like the hot pepper jam that you always get with the charcuterie board.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like, I've done different like mango chutneys and things like that we put on a spicy cheese. And you can invert it where you put this on with,
duck. For some reason, duck and pork go really well with sweeter things.
I thought something was falling from the studio, and I'm just like, I'll duck.
No, I ate a decent amount of duck, but no, that'd go really good with that. I'm excited what I can do with this stuff. That is
really good, and we'll still be trying it, I'm sure, while the episode's going on. But something else so interesting about Eddie and Eric's culture, a blend of Colombian and Polish is something that they're trying to like bring into some of their sauces in the future. Which the Polish element, I am Polish. I think I'm like 50% Polish.
I'm 52.
52%?
No, 50.
I think I'm Polish, Jewish, and then like a little German. Yeah. So we have a lot. I mean, the food, I've always thought about different, Polish meals and Polish foods, how you can bring hot sauce, like a cabbage roll with a tomato sauce. You can really spice up that tomato sauce if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. It's sweet, so you would have to do like a sweet, hot blend. Eric, when they asked him about weird food, hot sauce combinations that they do with food, Eric was like, maybe this is weird. He said pierogies. I would do that on a pierogi. I don't think that's weird to me because I just put anything on pierogies.
Fried plantains. I feel like that'd go good.
Yeah. Fried plantains would be good. Well, because pierogies, you typically, or at least what I've seen, because we used to do Polish dinners. We used to cater Polish dinners for my school. Me and my dad would do like 200, 250 people, like guests we would serve. And so we would always have pierogies we'd have some sour cream, we'd have applesauce.
Yeah.
And so this kind of has a little bit of the texture of applesauce.
Sure.
So it's not quite as thick, but it's getting there. But it has that sweetness where I can totally see this. And I now need to make pierogies.
Yeah.
But so that blend of cultures is part of what they bring in.
For some reason, I don't know if it's just because, like, it's just what people do. I don't know if it's just because people have always done it, but mango and habanero, they just always go together.
Yeah, this is so good. And we're going to get into the scoring. I'm going to wait a little bit on that because I got a lot more fun facts to do. But I don't know. Did you ask, was it when we were recording or before when you said, I hope you have some information about the logo?
Just before we started.
This is where we're going to get into it. So, the monkey mascot. Do you know what his name is?
Stanky.
It is. That's the easiest question. So,
it says right there on the bottle.
You cheated. This bottle he's got the orange hair, but the original, I almost tipped it over. I'm going to try a little bit more. The original logo, he had purple. So when they were designing the logo, they actually used, I believe, a local artist to Orlando to design it. And the color, as far as the color palette, he just automatically put purple. He just went to purple. And it's like, why'd you pick that? It's like, I don't know, just looked good, just popped. And purple is Eddie's favorite color. There were some gold elements in the face of the original logo that the gold represented the original sauce, the original mango habanero sauce. Purple and gold also, coincidentally, were the colors of their fraternity, Sigma Alpha Mu. But so the fraternity colors were there. And then the other interesting thing was, so back when they were growing up, they would spend summers in Colombia. In Colombia, they had a pet monkey.
What?
Named Mickey.
What kind of monkey was it?
I don't know what kind of monkey. It's just a monkey. I feel like that's the only important thing. If someone's like, hey, do you want to play with a monkey? It's like, what kind? No. I'm going to be like,
okay,
yes.
So was it like...
Smaller monkey.
Sure. But was it like...
It was not a gorilla.
Yeah. But was it like a monkey where it's like, oh yeah, we go out and he hangs out on the back deck and we feed him and stuff? Or was it like, this is a pet that hangs out inside?
No, very much a pet.
Just like chills on the couch with us?
Eddie says that he taught the monkey how to drink out of a cup. But Eric also joked that they couldn't get him to play sports. So that was...
That's awesome.
And also...
we got to get a picture of this thing.
They said that the monkey would hang on their arm. Just kind of like wrap around their arm.
Yeah.
Now, which made me think of your pet duck.
Yeah.
Because you said, what does your duck do when you just want to, like, when you're walking around?
She'll follow you around. She'll just like chill on your shoulder.
But what about the hoodie thing? Because that's what I thought
Just
of.
get in your hoodie.
Yeah, just like duck just nestled in your hoodie.
Yeah. She'll just hang out there.
Just the weirdest. It's very interesting. But so, here it is. So they launched the mascot in December of 2020. They had this big post on Instagram going into the details of it. So.
Hold on, was the monkey in real life, was his name Stanky?
No, it was Mickey.
Mickey, that's right, sorry.
Close.
I was blown away. I was just trying to process the fact that there was a monkey period that they had as a pet.
So when they were designing the logo.
Hold on, where did they get it?
The monkey?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to ask if they have a receipt.
I gotta call these guys. I just, like,
See?
Do you just find one? Like, did they, like, adopt it from the side of the road? Or was it like, you went to the pet store?
I don't know what the rules are in Colombia. That would be a great question that you could have asked them yesterday at the summit.
Yeah.
They were both there.
I have questions.
They'd be like, yeah, you guys are talking about sauce. So this monkey.
Oh,
I need to know.
I 100% would ask that question. I realize this might be a little off topic, but I hear that you guys have a monkey.
You realize you missed out on science and monkey talk.
Yeah.
Like, all that's left is like, oh yeah, someone came and talked about fossils and excursions that they've done, different, like, digging of fossils. You would have been like, and no beans were there? Sold. But when they were designing it, they initially were, the artist was making the monkey more aggressive, and they're like, no, we don't want it to be aggressive. They wanted it to be like happy. They wanted it to be more family friendly because their sauce is not super spicy. No. It's a friendly sauce, like it's a family friendly, market they're trying to get into. So they did not want the aggressive face. And then they were going to have each sauce have a different either type of monkey or different character.
Mm-hmm.
And there was two different reasons that they didn't go with that. One was that it was going to be kind of difficult to like make different brands of that level, like for multiple different sauces. But the more important thing was they take that monkey, they take that drawing, they change the color of the hair. They just change the color, but the monkey in itself is the same. And so they thought that was a very cool idea. You know, their sauce brand in itself is named after a nickname that could have been a bullying tool and became an empowerment. Having a logo that, hey, this is the same drawing every time on the bottle. The colors might be different. The hair might be a different color. The face might be a different color, but they're all the same. It was a message that they wanted to say of community, of togetherness. They're very pro supporting LGBTQ. So they wanted to be like, we're all the same. We all might look a little bit different, but deep down, we're just all people.
Sure.
We're just all stanky. So, and it's
inside everyone's stanky.
And they really talked about like the support they get from their family in, you know, in pursuing this sauce. They talk about the community they want to kind of like not just, you know, embolden, but they wanted to be a part of the local community in Orlando and grow from there. But it was very much you be you know, be yourself, be, you know, who you want to be. And so I just really latched onto a lot of the stuff that they were talking about. One of the things that is interesting is I know the upcoming colors for the new sauces that they're doing, because they have purple as the original.
Yep. That's
the mango habanero. They did come out with a rainbow pride monkey, which they have stickers that you can get, but that's not for any specific sauce. You get the orange hair for the honey mango habanero. They are coming out with a psychedelic blue monkey for the agave jalapeno, which I did mention that one to you, I think.
Yeah, you did.
And I know that they had talked about on one of the podcast interviews that it's a sauce that you could really even use in like a margarita.
Yeah.
You want a spicy margarita?
Yeah.
Agave and jalapeno, like, that just makes sense.
I like spicy margaritas.
And then the other one is a yellow monkey for a pineapple habanero ghost sauce.
Ooh. When are those coming out?
I think in the next month.
Okay.
I know that it's coming soon. I know that they had talked about that it's going to be on their website. You have to go directly to their website to get those, but
I'd like to see, because I do like the flavor of ghosts. Like, I like the flavor of those hotter peppers, and I'd like to see how, if they can make it manageable. Because for habanero, this is a very manageable sauce.
I've heard a mixed bag about ghosts. I've heard that ghosts, some people don't like the flavor of it, some people do.
Yeah. To me, I feel like once you get like those hotter ones, they get almost kind of smoky to me.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. I like that,
but yeah. So one of the things I've talked to you about it off the podcast before, but Johnny Scoville, well known on Instagram and YouTube primarily and TikTok, he tried this sauce and he called this, and this is a quote, a gateway sauce for people who don't like hot sauce.
I can see that.
I know for a lot of people I could see that. I know that I don't know if my mom would be on board with this sauce, just because it does have a good heat in the upfront, but it's not strong. But it is something they talked about that they love seeing. Like if someone has a picture of like their kids having this hot sauce on something, they're like, that's great. Like they don't want it to be an exclusive sauce. They want it to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing is, if you make a sauce that's just like for the chili heads, that's a very specific group.
It's like, you're marketing to 19 people.
Either those people, there's a lot of them. I don't want to upset the chili heads. There's a lot of them out there, but that's a very specific group. And then you make it some bold people that try to challenge themselves. But this is a sauce that like everyone can enjoy. It brings that heat in. I don't know if they have submitted or want to submit a sauce into hot ones. This one,
that'd be killer.
You could totally see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming that it would be obviously it would be on the lower half. I'd be curious where they would put it on the scale. I know they have their classic that they put at number 1, but I would expect it to be at like a 2 or a 3 on the scale. Not because doesn't have that heat. It's just, but yeah. So we talked about the upcoming flavors that they have. So this was kind of cool. I mean, I think it's more than kind of cool. That's why I'm bringing it up. But when they went to the Fiery Food Show, they went there just as attendees. They did not have a booth. They were fully swagged out in all their merch because they have t-shirts and hats and stickers and all that. And they were really pleasantly surprised by the recognition they got there, which for me, I mean, being really new to researching these sauce makers, only like, what are we going to be, like 5 months old at this point into this? For me, it was like, well, of course they're going to recognize you. Like, you guys are on Instagram, you guys are doing all this stuff. But it was just really nice to see that you go to a Fiery Food Show that's specifically about everything heat, hot sauce, barbecue. And they were recognized there. They were able to get a lot of feedback from other sauce makers. They said that it did help them realize they aren't alone in what they struggle with. It's a common thing with sauce makers. But also, more importantly, there is no manual on how to do this. Don't think, hey, you know what to do. Tell me the breakdown of how to make it in the sauce world, how to do things a certain way.
Most of it is like, I don't know, I just did it. Like, here's some tips that I wish someone would have told me, but for the most part, it's like, do what you got to do.
And that's what the message from Zach from High Desert Sauce Company too was, just like, there's not a whole lot of tips that he could give as far as like here's a secret. It was just be you, be original, do your own thing. So that was kind of just a cool thing that they were able to get that recognition, and hopefully they have a booth. I know that now with them ramping up more sauces, they're going to try to get more exposure, starting locally in Orlando, work their way out to other shows. You know, I would totally love it if they made their way up north. I go down to Florida like twice a year, but we go down like closer to Miami to visit Angela's sister, and I'm like, I got to figure out a way. If they're going to be at, whether it be a market or a show, maybe we do a detour or do a vacation where she comes up a little bit and goes to Orlando.
Yeah.
Because that'd be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I was going to do, and then I changed, I didn't end up doing it for two reasons. So they have a recipe called the Stankwich. I did not make the Stankwich today. Two reasons for that is it has meat on it, but I would have still made it. The other thing is one of the ingredients I looked at 4 different grocery stores I couldn't find.
Huh.
So
Horrocks didn't have it?
I didn't go to Horrocks. I went to the ones locally here. Horrocks, not a sponsor. So, the Stankwich, it's relatively pretty simple, but the big thing is the sauce that you make, because it is not just this sauce. It's a 3-part sauce. So you got to get a full fat mayo. Do not do any type of light mayo. I would have probably done Duke's. Mm-hmm. It's like Duke's. Boar's Head honey mustard specifically.
Okay.
They said that has the right flavor for what you're doing. And then the mango habanero. I think they were talking about the mango habanero, not the honey.
Yeah.
Which would have, having tried it now, I'm like, I don't think it would have been too sweet to have that and honey mustard. Mm-hmm. But you mix those 3 up. That's your base. That's your sauce. He says, and I have this bread upstairs and it's really good, do the Hawaiian loaf bread.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically the Pepperidge Farm Hawaiian loaf. Because it's just sliced. Because King's Hawaiian does it. But Pepperidge Farm's one I think is better. The Hawaiian rolls, obviously,
are side by side. I've always had the King's Hawaiian rolls. That's the orange pack, right? In the tray.
Yeah.
That's. I think that's the only thing I've ever had as far as Hawaiian rolls. But
my son Mason will eat rolls with butter of that, just like nonstop. But I try to offer him a slice of the Hawaiian bread and butter. It's like, no, I'll do a Hawaiian roll, please.
Crazy?
Like, thought I was trying to trick him with like vegetables. But so you take the bread, you toast it, you put that sauce down. You do turkey and ham. He didn't go into any details on that, so turkey and ham, lettuce, tomato, and then you finish it with fresh cracked pepper and salt. Boom.
That's simple.
That sauce is
that sounds good.
But that sauce is really gonna carry that.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have more mustardy. You got that full fat mayo. I think with that mayo, the heat might get cut a little bit, just being blended in there, but. I don't know.
I'm curious if that's the sandwich, minus the sauce that he was bootlegging out of the back of his car in high school. They're just like, hey man, it's too good a sandwich. You can't be doing that.
I could see people buying that for sure. So that was the Stankwich. That was the, that was definitely a sandwich I was going to make. But then Boar's Head, honey mustard. Could not find it. Went to a couple different grocery stores. I looked online and there was, when I did a Google search, I did a Google search for Boar's Head. And the first thing was Boar's Head shortage was the first autofill.
Oh, really?
Is that why? But I don't know.
I feel like boar's head's one of the most common brands you see if you go to the deli.
Yeah. So, as far as heat, what is your personal opinion of the heat as I get to almost to the top of the label of this sauce?
Yeah. For me, that's a 1.
Okay.
I mean, super good. Like, you get like the habanero flavor.
Yeah.
That sweeter, fruitier taste. But like it doesn't, in no way, shape, or form does it like hang on to a point where you're like, I'm uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, I'm comfortable. I would be comfortable labeling this like soup.
We've drank half the bottle just sitting here.
But I will say, like, I would put this in the same category as last week's, where it's like a 1+ for me.
Yeah.
Because it is, for me, a 1 is something that I could have, like, I could recommend to my mom and she'd be cool with. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't like kick me for tricking her. This is kind of a question. This is a question, and if she'd be cool with it or not.
Yeah.
So that's my guiding star for 1 to 2. And that's where we've been. So that's what I've been focused on.
Yeah.
I'll figure out other family analogies for the rest of the heat levels.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're national or what, but when I was a kid, I think it was like Jack's Special Salsa. Have you ever had that from the store?
I think so.
It's like it's got like the yellow rim on the lid.
Oh, yeah.
You got like the extra hot one. You got like the mild. And my mom loves chips and salsa, and I'm just a dumb little kid. So me doing the same thing, eating extra hot when she's not looking, I swapped them. And she took a big old chip full of the extra hot. Mm-hmm. And I remember I heard 2 crunches of the chip and she froze. And then all of a sudden I just saw her turn around and just give me these laser eyes. And I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. And she just like looked at me and slowly switched the sauces back. But I was like, I probably shouldn't do that again. I've never been stared at like that before.
So going in a little bit into the grading scale. So again, the most important thing is where does it land on that 100-point scale? Because this is just more of a guiding tool for us to better give it a rating that we think is accurate to how we feel about it. So it's a 100-point scale. It's a weighted scale. The biggest, most important thing about any type of sauce, in our opinion, is flavor. So flavor makes up about 60 points of the score. 15 of it is the initial taste, 15 is the aftertaste, and 30 is just overall flavor. That is going to take up most of your score. You do have 10 that talks about aroma, 10 that goes into appearance, and then we have 10 for does it deliver on what it says? What is it advertising? If it tells you that it's the spiciest thing that you've ever tried, is it truly that spicy? If it doesn't really hit like that, that's where you're looking at does it deliver on what it's selling you? Because really, whenever you're looking at a sauce, you're only going to be able to go by what they describe, what they list. The final thing is just a 10 for kind of intangibles or overall, because it's hard to, fit everything into a score. Like you can't always, like we can't pinpoint everything. And even what we're doing here, it's not we're pinpointing how to grade a sauce. All we're doing is helping us quantify what we think of it. So that makes the 100-point scale. And again, I already know that this is going to be over 75 because I will have this in my kitchen for the rest of my life. As long as they still make it, I'm going to have it.
I'm still getting used to the grading scale.
Yeah.
I have like the same nervousness as if I had not studied for a test. Like I'm just hoping for consistency and like taking the human error out of it.
And here's the thing too is whatever we grade the sauce before, whatever we grade the sauce next, I really don't care so much about the side-by-side, at least starting out, because after last episode, we kind of looked at, do we really think that the scale helps us? Does it hurt us? We didn't give, I think I will probably end up giving last week's sauce a higher score when we revisit it in a year, because that's why we decided to revisit it in a year, is because we are going to have a lot more experience with sauce. We haven't tried a lot of the extract sauces. We haven't tried some of the commercial sauces that will help us realize and appreciate these all natural sauces that are using, these proper ingredients and whatnot. So I am doing math. So if you hear me count out numbers, it's because I am not great at this. I love this sauce. And also one of the things I forgot to do is just read what what it says on the bottle itself. It does have refrigerate after opening, by the way.
We're not going to have that kind of time.
I don't have to put it in their fridge.
I'm gonna have you pour half that in a sandwich baggie before I leave, and it's coming home with me.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I think one of their sauce, I think it was the mango habanero, might have been sold out. So hopefully not both of them. So this one, it says, Stanky sauce is crafted with passion, creating unique flavors to enrich your palate. Whether you're a person or hot sauce, Stanky is intended to celebrate the importance of being bold and standing out. It's not just a hot sauce, it's Stanky sauce. So there's two sayings that they have when, I don't know why I just closed the bottle. That's the dumbest thing I ever did. There's two different sayings they have. One of them is live the Stanky life. They use that periodically. The other one is feed adventure.
Like Feeted?
Feed.
Oh, feed adventure.
Yeah, I was like,
feed adventure.
What? I'm like, what did you just spell? I'm like,
it's
you added words in there.
It's midnight, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
No, it's not midnight yet. But feed adventure. That's the big one that they use right now.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not just like, yes, feed adventure, go out there, be adventurous. They'd love to see someone take this and go camping, hiking, do outdoorsy things. But they also talk about they want Stanky sauce to be mobile, be something that people take everywhere. But it doesn't have to be mobile. You don't need it to be physical to try something new.
Sure.
It's something where feed adventure could be trying a new book, trying a new sauce, trying to cook something for the first time.
Starting a podcast,
making a hot sauce.
Yeah.
Feed adventure is...
No, I like that.
Put yourself out there. Try something new. And their messages across the board. I mean, they talk about not letting, bullying get you down, not letting a name get you down. Mm-hmm. They want to help the community. They have messages of support for different sexual orientation, color of their skin, religion, all that stuff. Gender. They are an all-inclusive sauce, which you don't need it to be a good sauce, but it is such a great thing to use as part of your message when you're making a sauce. You're going to be putting yourself out there anyway, promoting a sauce. Why not have it be a message of positivity, of togetherness, of community?
After all that, I feel like I'm eating a lifestyle now. Not a hot sauce.
So just so if
that's cool though.
If Courtney's like, hey, you have to stop buying bottles of this, be like, I am supporting a message.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you didn't like positive messages.
Yeah. I feel like
they need to slap your spiel right there on the back of that bottle too, or as like a testament.
What I just said?
Yeah,
I already forgot what I just said, so I just blacked out what I said.
Good thing it's recorded.
Yeah. Oh, I'll listen to it a few times. So, all right. So, I see you have your phone there.
I got a couple facts to throw your way.
At first, I thought you were gonna be like, I gotta go.
I have no. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take off later.
Like to be continued.
No. So, one more fact. Actually, fact 2 out of 4 here is on average, a honeybee produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey over the course of its life.
Wait, say that again.
1/12 of a teaspoon over the course of its life. That is tiny. That is a couple drops of honey.
Like when I see a honeycomb, like being just like
pounds of honey.
So many bees.
Yeah.
Their life's work.
That's pounds of honey. Get this. They're efficient little things. To put that into perspective, 2 tablespoons of honey would be enough to fuel a bee's entire flight around the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got me to say when you told me before,
that wasn't even the hard hitter.
I'm gonna get you to say really, and I'm like, nah.
Wasn't even the hard hitter. That blew my mind. The level of like a bee civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Like you pull one honeycomb out, and it's just like dripping, dripping, dripping. So it's like each drip is like, there's a bee's lifetime. There's a bee's lifetime. There's a bee's lifetime.
That makes me kind of sad.
Isn't that intense?
Like it's really
like how much they put into it. Like that blew my mind. And then 2 tablespoons is enough to fuel a honeybee around the world. That's crazy.
Fuel efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than any
Start
hybrid.
putting honey in my truck. That's how you gum up the engine and lose the whole thing.
Just so I can I want to show you. I know you have another fun fact. I'm going to show you the actual.
That's the one I was familiar with.
Yeah,
that's
the purple logo.
Was the
I just showed Mike the original purple logo, and it's yellow lettering. It's not yellow face. It's yellow lettering. So
yeah, that's the one I was familiar with. So when I saw this one, I was like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah, that is the original logo, which the hair reminds me, you didn't understand the reference when I mentioned it earlier, but it reminds me of Dragon Ball Z.
That's what I thought of.
The Super Saiyan.
Not totally familiar with anime, but I do remember those commercials every other time on Cartoon Network, I think.
Like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, like all that stuff was the only anime I was into. So when people are like, oh, you're into anime, and it's like when someone says, if I say like, oh, I speak Spanish, they're like, really? I'm like, sí. And then they say like a full sentence. I'm like, well, not that much Spanish. It's the same with this. I'm like, oh, I like anime. And then, oh, really? Did you watch this? And I'm like,
I love hot sauce. You ever had Frank's?
Yeah, it's exactly that. So you have another fact, I feel like. I do.
We're building up.
Oh, man.
Cats cannot taste honey.
That's why they're angry. That's why they're so bitter.
They lack the taste receptors.
So they can't taste honey, and birds don't taste capsaicin. Yeah. They don't get that. So, man, there's just some animals out there just either missing out or...
Yeah, that's why they're always so ornery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something where I want to use the joke of, yeah, the cats can't taste honey. They're sweet enough, but that's a bold-faced lie. I mean, definitely a dog family over here.
There's nice cats out there, but...
I'm mildly allergic to cats, but I do like a nice cat. Which usually my definition of a nice cat is one that acts like a dog.
Speaking of that, I just learned about there's 2 breakdowns of cats. Cats that purr and cats that don't. Oh, I wish I remembered it.
That's an interesting fact too.
Yeah. And that they break them down from like a biological standpoint. And I think the largest cat that purrs, I think is the mountain lion.
Okay.
I think that's the largest cat that purrs. I could be wrong on that. I'll have to fact check it, but I remember hearing that. On a podcast recently.
Wasn't ours. So, do you have your score?
I do have my score.
I'm curious to see how close we are because last time...
Are you happy with your score?
I'm happy with my score. I'm happier with my score this time than I was last week. Last week, it was the nerves of being the first time scoring something officially.
Yeah.
And you always worry, am I going to score too high and then I kind of set it? Or am I going to score it too low and then I've capped everything else? So I kind of forgot about last week's to just focus on this week's.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to say yours first? Do I say it at the same time?
I'm going 80.
Okay.
What do you have?
I have 85.
Okay.
I really like it.
Yeah. No, I like it too. So for me, the aroma, I had a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Like I said, it just comes off.
I only had a 7.
Like I'm conflicted because it smells good.
Yeah.
But also, if I had my eyes closed and you put that in my fist, it'd be like, smells good, but there's a lot of honey going on in there.
Yeah,
but it works out. I think the apple cider vinegar just cuts it right out.
Nothing on the smell for me that's unwelcoming.
No, it's all welcoming.
But it's strong. But yeah, it's something where this is a sauce. Like I said, anything above 75, this is going to be in my kitchen. This is going to be something I'm going to recommend people to try. This is going to be a sauce that really, the last 2 sauces we've tried, might as well be in the side pouch of my backpack every day at work.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're 2 very different sauces that you could use on different things. You could use them both on the same thing, and it would be amazingly different flavors in the best way possible.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm putting it on a wet burrito, but I could think of enough.
I could try.
I could definitely give it a shot.
You make a wet burrito that's stuffed with tacos al pastor pork and pineapple.
Okay, I'll put it on a wet burrito.
Yeah. It's got to be the right wet burrito.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I would put it in 85. It's very much solidified in I want this in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So the biggest argument we're going to have is who's going to take it home. Do you want me to put in some Tupperware? I was about to drink it. I just pulled it up like it was my water.
We'll figure it out. We'll hash that out later.
We'll have to debate that, but this has been a kind of a long episode, so that's...
It has been. I'm gonna leave you guys, save the second best for last. That sauce was best.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? I just get excited about this one.
Like, I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Maybe it's the hard botany nerd in me.
Okay.
The mango is in the mango and the cashew is in the poison ivy family. Anacardiaceae.
What?
Yes. So a mango, poison ivy, and cashews, and I can verify from 2 life experiences that they are in the same family. So
did you get poisoned by cashews?
Not me.
Okay.
Ask if I got poisoned by mangoes.
Did you get poisoned by mangoes?
Not me.
Okay.
So ask if I got poisoned by poison ivy.
I'm tired of this game already.
11 months out of the year.
Okay.
There's usually not a month where I don't have some sort of poison ivy. So my parents blessed me and my brothers with
extreme poison ivy.
Like, if I'm near it, if I'm downwind of it, I'll have it.
Yeah.
Like, if I shoot a deer, I'll have it.
Yeah.
My older brother got on a cashew kick.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about. Just told me, I don't know if he went to Costco and found, invested in some cashews. He's like, dude, I don't know where I got it. I got poison ivy right now. He's like, I'm just covered in it. Looked into it. If you eat too many cashews, they can trigger a poison ivy response to your body. So he was just covered in blisters.
How many cashews did he eat? Because I don't react well to poison ivy.
He said it was a lot. I don't know what sort of volume you got to be dealing with. I'm sure everyone's different. But yeah, that's how I found out that cashews were in the poison ivy family.
I mean, I feel like I have to have a picture of an evil cashew as one of the photos out of context. Photos without context for the post, because that is...
My dad, he was working in a Central American country, and one of the locals just tossed him a green mango, and they're like, have at it. Like, here's just some fruit,
Yeah.
Green mango. He didn't really, he's like, it's a mango. I'll just eat it, So he tried to bite it, so he's sitting here trying to gnaw this. He's like, it was like trying to bite into a leather wallet. Like, he couldn't do it. So he ended up cutting it with a knife. Said next morning he woke up and his lips were just swollen the size of, like oranges.
Yeah.
Ended up going to the emergency room and, he goes into work that morning. Everyone's like, dude, what happened to your lips? He's like, I don't know. They're like, you didn't try to eat that mango with your mouth, did you? And he's like, yeah, I tried to bite into it. They're like, why would you do that? Apparently, like, a green ripe mango has like the poison ivy oils in it. And he just sat there trying to break the skin, gnawing on it, just rubbing it all over his face. So in the best way possible, we just kind of had a little bit of poison ivy family in our hot sauce.
Wow. I'm pretty impressed. That's honestly, the scientific facts are all yours, because that's something that I don't know. Kind of like how you were amazed that I was like deep diving into like the history of Ethel from Frank's Red Hot commercials. Like, that is an impressive dive. I definitely think that's the best fact that we can do. All I'm going to do is mention that if you want to follow the Stanky Sauce on Instagram, that is the handle, the Stanky Sauce. They have a few other ones, but that is their main one. That also has a link to their website, stankysauce.com, which is where you can get all their sauces and get any updates. Those two things will give you all the updates you need. And they actually gave us a coupon code that you guys can use. If you type in HEATUP10, you'll be able to get 10% off on any order you do at stankysauce.com. It's pretty cool. I will let you know right now that by the time this episode airs, I will have ordered more. That is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I literally just like pulled it up where I'm like, oh, let me see about buying that. But I do know, honey mango habanero hot sauce is still available. So
picking one of those up.
So yeah, so that is the sauce. That is another good one. I feel like we're off to a really good start with this. Not great for our cabinet space, but
yeah. And all the wife, she wasn't upset, but she was just like, so I noticed the entire door is hot sauce.
Yeah.
Like, are you eating these or are these sitting idle or what? I'm like, you'd see, like, I'm chipping away at all of them. I'm rotating through 13 hot sauces now. I've
been burning through way more hot sauce than I did last year. Like, I think I already hit my cap for what I did last year. Yeah. So this is
we might have to not be sponsored by Alka-Seltzer soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. But yeah, definitely check those out if you want to follow these guys. They are awesome. And then that otherwise is it. I want to again say thank you for anyone that listened and anyone that stayed till the end of this episode. It's a long one.
Yeah, give us wherever you listen to podcasts. I think we're pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. So give us a like, give us a share. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you have any suggestions of any sauces we should try or anything new that you'd like to see in the episode, reach out. We are always available on Instagram to have a discussion. But that is it. So until next week, when we will be trying a local sauce, a little bit lesser known sauce here in Michigan, Big Spice Bullies.
Okay.
So that will be the next episode. But until then, thank you and see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.